trickle in, and then we'll start recording the audio.
Cool.
So we'll just kind of bullshit for a little bit. I really wanted to have a pregame beer, but I don't know. Let me see. Do I have a pregame beer I can choke down? Jesus.
Cool. Yeah, I forgot if we have time. Oh, got it. There we are. I got my homage to Richie Victory Philly glass over here.
Nice. I got a human robot glass. So I checked how much beer I have, like the Space Cadet beer I have today, and I have enough to drink one beer this episode. I've been drinking it like every night, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I'm gonna run out of this. I need to."
It's quality assurance. It's quality. It's not a habit. It's not an addictive habit.
Yeah. Yeah, I promised my illustrator I'd give him a whole case. I'm like, I haven't told him yet. Like, you're getting 2 4-packs. I already drank it all.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, I got to get one to your parents. They came early, and I pulled into the parking lot, and Doug's like, they left already. I was like, what?
Ahead of schedule.
Yeah, they were like tailgating the opening of the brewery. I got there.
I think they had like some concert or something in Jersey, so they just had to run out.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, but I owe you guys some beer. Thanks for dropping that off.
No, thank you it was very easy.
Oh man, I moved my beer fridge around behind me. I just like slightly moved it to get something that fell behind, and I moved it back, and I just opened the door, and all of the beer fell out. I need to start. I need to figure out a way to drink this beer.
I need to find a way. I'm doing the same thing. I'm not drinking as much during the week anymore, and it's starting to pile up. Now
it's tough.
I don't know what to do anymore because people keep bringing me beer. I just have a bunch of Hudson Valley beer. Do you know one of the owners from Hudson Valley is from around this area?
I didn't know that.
Hudson Valley. I can't remember if it's Hudson Valley or Anderson Valley, which is and look, we got this, which goes into it. What's the most disgusting beer? I can't remember which one of them made that disgusting brute IPA that I had.
It was Anderson Valley. Hudson Valley, yeah.
Anderson
Valley is like
is that New York?
Yeah, it's in it's in New York.
Anderson Valley is in Cali, and just in general, brewed IPA, most disgusting beer. I don't count.
Space Cadet's like, man, that's on the brew schedule.
No. I didn't understand the brewed IPA thing. Like, let's just make this super bitter.
It was It was a try hard moment. What do you think the most disgusting beer is, Richie?
It's what is it? Barley wine. It sucks. It's the worst. It's like every beer harder thinks it's like, no, this is like the epitome of beer. No, this is disgusting.
Man, you just broke poor Alan's heart. Dan, what's the most disgusting beer?
Ooh, that is a good question. While I do kind of agree with Richie there, barley wine is kind of just way overrated.
Nikki, is barley wine your favorite?
No way. Our Twitch angel knows what barley wine is. Man, I don't know. Barley wine is pretty disgusting. I gotta say the brewed IPA was a real miss for me as well. I hate black IPAs. I think they're I don't see the appeal in like hop flavor and roasty notes all together, like that new age IPA hop flavor with like the roast of like a dark beer. I don't get it. Every time I have one, and I've had so many, I'm like, no, don't like it.
I think some people do them wrong. There's like Storm King and Victory is really more of a black IPA.
Storm King? Yeah, well, yeah, there is a hop flavor to Storm King that
the IBUs are so high in it that it's like, you know, people love it, but like they don't realize how bitter it is.
That is a extremely bitter stout. I agree.
Nikki hates all beer, but continuously tunes into a beer podcast.
Hey, you know what? We'll take fans where we can get them.
Yeah.
She better not be a Mets fan, though.
Yeah, we don't even know where she's from. All right, Dylan's at Dog and Bull at Broken Goblet. Appreciates the art. Well, we appreciate you, Nikki.
We appreciate you.
Did you guys Dan, have you heard about Will Smith's farts?
Yeah, they just talked about this on something I was listening to before. Actually, right before this, Will Smith's farts shut down the set of Men in Black.
Have you heard about this, Richie?
No.
All right, we're gonna do a little fart talk, and then we'll get into the actual podcast.
Yeah, that's a good slow burn into a craft beer podcast is farts.
Yeah, Will's the director of Men in Black, Barry Sonnenfeld, was on Kelly Ripa's podcast, and he said that Will Smith farted so much on the set of Men in Black, and one fart was so bad that they evacuated the stage for 3 hours.
What? To shut down production is expensive too.
Yeah, that's an expensive fart.
Yeah.
Is that the most expensive fart ever?
I mean, it could be.
It very well could be. Yeah.
What other farts can you think have cost more money?
There's got to be some business deal where someone farted and just turned sour,
or it turned in their favor. It's like I like your style.
Your jib.
Yeah, I like the cut of your jib. Here's $3 billion. Lay off the onions.
Man, for a guy who was so loved for so long, this guy is just taking L after L.
He'll be back. That's what we do. We tear people down.
Yeah.
Who'll get rebuilt.
Beat them down and then build them back up.
He's a Philly star, and in my opinion, he is the choice to bring Space Cadet to mainstream.
Yes. I think there's if you're too good as a Philly star, there's something wrong with you. You know, you got Will Smith, Bill Cosby. It's like you've got to have something wrong with you in Philly to
Boys to Men got out before all the skeletons could be revealed.
Yeah, I was gonna say Boys to Men really skated away unharmed. I mean, even Meek Mill's getting it right now with the whole Diddy thing. So I mean, nobody is safe from Philly.
Man, Boys to Men popped in, they popped out. They were like, "We got 2 albums, we're good."
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna head out now.
Yeah, remember us for the good stuff. We're out. I'm trying to think who else. Bradley Cooper, I think, is generally unscathed.
Yeah, I'd say him. Miles Teller. I mean, did you see Miles Teller after that Mets win or loss?
No.
He was, all right, dude. He was on the steps, like people were filming him. Oh, dude, he was like screaming like "fuck the Mets" and shit. It was great.
Yeah, it sucks. He's such a bad actor.
I was like, hey, great drummer, man. Whiplash was awesome.
Was he actually drumming in that?
I don't know.
Whiplash was awesome.
He said he knew how he is a drummer, but I think when they were doing the crazy technical stuff they got.
Yeah, because they cut out his head for a lot of it, and it's really just like body shots of just a guy just absolutely ripping it. It's definitely not him. But yeah, he did learn to play at it's Philly's own, and it doesn't have any skeletons in his closet yet. So
we're appealing to our audience.
Oh, I knew I'd get something out of Twitch Angel with that one. I mean, Miles Teller is like every person's wife talks about Miles Teller.
Richie kind of has a bit of a Miles Teller face to him.
It's just the beard.
Is the Miles Teller of the Philly beer scene over here?
I mean, I'm not gonna argue with that. That's what you want to call me.
All right, let's hit our intro and we'll get into the proper podcast. The podcast with less fart talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we're back.
We are back.
And let us go live. Yo, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome to It's a Whole New World over here.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, I'm gonna do this while we do the intro. We've successfully traveled across the original 13 colonies,
I like to call them the OG 13.
nearly unscathed. I think we only had one hiccup, Dan.
What, Georgia sucking?
No, South Carolina not producing beer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Budweiser. But I
We
gotta say,
had our
Georgia
macro.
also sucked though. So,
Georgia did
I mean,
suck.
yeah, we've had some lows. We had some highs.
Mhm.
We did have some highs. We had some. Rhode Island was great. One of the best ones to almost end on. And I mean, we had Massachusetts. I did a classic Sam Adams episode had to be done.
Yeah,
there were highs, there were lows, but we made it.
Yeah,
we're back to an OG episode, man.
Yeah, I would almost classify that as a success. But yeah, we're back to our roots. Speaking of famous Philly people, back to the roots. Go back and watch the pre-show. If you're
pre-show was great.
But yeah, we're back. We're back to our roots, and we are back for another week. It is your number one source for all things craft beer related, internationally acclaimed, Cindy Crawford approved podcast of hops. High fives. We did this last week too. It was terrible.
This is weird. It's a terrible orientation. I can't. I'm usually on the left, Tom. I'm usually on the left. You threw me through a loop here.
I was raising the roof over here. And friendship. I am your host, the crispiest of boys, the crowd killer of Crispies. It's Tom.
And I'm your other host, the Hot Master General, the Royersford Rattlesnake.
Nope.
And Daniel?
Hit the wrong button, but it worked. It
worked.
I got too many Dan-centric buttons on here.
Anyway, it's Dan. I'm going to mix the damn Daniel into the Stone Cold intro. I think it's going to work.
I think it could work. I don't
just
know
like
if
at the end of Daniel, just have the glass.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's going to be the best.
All right, everybody. We're back with another episode. Like we said, we're going original flavor Best Friends podcast.
Yeah, this is a classic.
Got a brewer on. We got his beer. It's getting crazy. So we are joined today by old friend of the podcast, former member of the Best Friends Pod Fantasy Football League. I don't know. I don't think you fared very well, did you?
Yeah, he was real mid.
Yeah, just stopped checking my lineup. I think midway through the season, didn't do so hot.
He just stopped caring.
Last time we spoke with him, he was the head brewer down at 1776 Ben Franklin Parkway. Can't forget that address.
Best address.
At Victory, and he is now the sole proprietor. I would guess sole proprietor. Ownership group.
Parents own a little tiny bit.
Majority owner.
They invested.
Of the latest Philly brewery to come out, we have Richie Tevlin from Space Cadet Brewery.
Thank you for having me.
What's up, Richie?
Happy to be back.
All right, so let's do some housekeeping real quick, and then we're gonna start drinking. We're gonna start talking Space Cadet. We got a lot going on here. So
Bring the spaceman. Let's do it.
Let's get this in here. All right, everybody. Remember, follow, rate, review. Give us a follow on all major podcast platforms. Give us a rating. Dan, what is that rating?
5-star party, baby.
And choose a review. Guys, reviews are the lifeblood of this podcast. It's how we stay in the algorithms. It's how we can get some kind of recognition on these podcast platforms. So if you're on Apple Podcasts, choose a rating on there. If you're on Spotify, you can go over and leave us a comment, much like the Bit, who is consistently leaving us
leaving comments. Ooh, what's this week, Tom? This is the best part of the episode for me. No offense, Richie. This is the best.
Just like from episode 231, Squonktoberfest with Greg from Stabby Stabby Podcast. Listen in as the guys show off for Stabby Greg, and then don't even put the link to his Plex in the show notes.
Got to go back to listen to that one if you want to know what's on Stabby's Plex.
Yeah, it's a solid comment as always, by old Bit. And if you do want to support us monetarily, there's two ways to do it. You can go to the link in our Instagram bio. It'll take you to a listener sports section. You can donate some money there, help us out. If you want a little kickback yourself, you want to get a little skin in the game, you can go to the best place to support the podcast.
Absolutely, that is Sub with Prime.
Go to twitch.tv/bestfriendspod. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link it with your Twitch. You can subscribe to the podcast for a couple months for free, ad-free watching. We get a little kickback. Everybody's happy. And as always, we are a part of the Hopped Up Network. Hopped Up Network is an ever-growing group of the independent craft beer podcast, much like our own. If you like our podcast, you might like some of the others on the network. Check them out, www.hoppedupnetwork.com. Instagram at Hopped Up Network. All right, we're done there. All right, so we're getting back. We're getting way back into the old. It feels like an eternity since we've done an episode like this, Dan.
To quote Stained, it's been a while.
It's been a while. The great Aaron Lewis.
Yeah, to quote the great Aaron Lewis, it has been a while.
Separate the art from the artist. So Richie, you are.
He's been busy.
Yeah, you released some beer today, which is Monday. For the audio listeners, it's Wednesday. So you released it a couple days ago. It might be in stores now. It might be in distributors at this point.
There's probably one store that is in. I don't know though. Like I said, it's because I'm selling through a wholesaler. There's a couple different steps after it leaves my hands. So it's however fast they want to move.
Yep. So by Wednesday, guys, by the time you're listening to this, you could be able to purchase this. It could be in the shops, and we'll get into that in just a bit. But yeah, let's we're putting the cart before the horse. Let's get down to this beer.
All right. So we have Splashtronaut by this is your first beer you're releasing?
Yes.
Okay. And it's a pale ale, 5.5% alcohol by volume, brewed with Citra Mosaic. Oh, we got Dan. We got it. I didn't even think it was.
Guys, let me tell you. I mean, it's Richie. Obviously, he's on point with everything he's doing here with Space Cadet. He's got it on Untapped, everybody. Look at that. Already on Untapped. I mean, this is just getting released this week. He's already got 3 5-star ratings on this bad boy.
You talk about a 5-star party. This is where we destroy Untapped. I have a perfect record already. If everyone just gives me a 5-star from here on out, it won't make any sense, and Untapped will then cease to exist.
I think
break the algorithm. Break the algorithm with Richie here.
I think if you're a believer in numerology, I mean, you got a 5-star rating. It's a 5.5% alcohol by volume. It's just 5s all around.
Just all the owners giving it a 5-star review. Great.
Man. Oh yeah, this is the best.
Wide audience.
Old Bill T over here. That's William Tevlin. Is that your dad?
I don't know who that is.
What a headshot.
Yeah, that's my dad.
Billy T using his professional headshot as his profile picture is legit.
It's his LinkedIn profile. Look at that.
I mean,
he's got
a lot of beers. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, look at him. Yeah, 732. Oh man, look at this.
He's catching up to old Allen.
Yep, a man after our own hearts here, man. Drinking an Oktoberfest Yingling.
Nice.
Real Pennsylvania patriot right there.
How many does my mom have? She's probably only checked in my beers before.
Really? Oh yeah. So I got Richard, and I've got. Is that So Beer 4 Beer? Is that your mom's username?
I guess so.
your mom's check-in is maybe the most legit
She's got
one.
a lot too. She's got way more than I do.
Dude, look at her. Deb
So
for
beer,
beer.
4 beer.
Dude, your mom is hype on this. Oh look,
Deb for beer.
look at that. She's at Rebel Hill.
Oh, look at that.
Tell her she's got a 4-pack of Scratch waiting for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and look at Dan. Look at the Space Cadet picture. Little Monday Night Football action.
Yeah, but this was Monday Night Football on the 30th of September.
Well, I mean, ownership gets a free preview.
Ownership has their privilege, you know.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Let's crack into this thing.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
I'm ready for this. All right, let's get a little crack here. Richie,
right.
you got your beer?
Got it.
Don't you've been on enough times. Don't suffer from premature craculation. All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh man, thing of beauty.
Ooh, that's fresh.
So are you looking for this to be kind of like your flagship kind of beer?
No, the whole point is that there's no flagship. It's a single batch brewery, so every single time I brew, it's a new batch, new recipe.
Okay. All right. Very unique style.
I like this. So tell us about it. So did you try and go with like kind of a mixture between like the new age, like hazy pale and like the old school, like, like Sierra Nevada?
It's unfiltered. So when we were talking, like I want like a not hazy pale ale. But you get better efficiency with like unfiltered. So I think it's just a little bit hazy. But really, it's less about each individual recipe, I guess, the brand, because it's a single batch brewery. There's a lot of logistical issues with that a lot of people don't think about. And it's like selling to bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
They can't handle that. So I told you kind of before we started the episode, like it's kind of buying into like the program of it. So this beer is like put the brand. It was less about like here's my greatest. Yes, I think this beer is awesome.
Yeah,
but it's like I needed a middle of the road beer, something that's like not offensive to anybody. Like just to kick the tires with the brand, just to show people logistically how a beer like this would go through the system, so that like my wholesalers, the bars, the beer distributors like realize how
Space Cadet works.
Yes, exactly. It's not like a normal brewery, I guess.
Yeah, I do like the choice though. And cheers, guys. Let's get down to business.
Yep, Sancha.
So you want me to talk about it a little bit? I mean, what you guys are tasting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just gonna say something briefly about. I think you picked a very good style for what you were trying to do. Like you're trying to capture like a wider audience than like the hop heads or like the traditional beer drinkers. Like a pale ale kind of hits right down the road and even gets a lot of the people who are not like big craft beer drinkers, but still want something that's easy drinking and approachable.
For sure. And this was supposed to be like a middle of the road beer, just softball beer for everybody, like beer people, it's just clean beer, but then also people that aren't into beer can kind of like see what it's all about. So it's a pale ale. It's not an IPA, so it's not overly hop forward. It's brewed with Pilsner, Vienna, and honey malt. So honey malt is sweet, Vienna malt is sweet, and has a super low terminal gravity. So the beer tastes very sweet, but it doesn't drink like that. It's not like, doesn't have a cloying mouth feel. It's like it's much sweeter than what it would seem the beer is sugar wise. And then the hops are just kind of there to like balance it out a bit. But like I said, it's not an IPA. It's a pale ale. Yeah,
you get a touch of citrus from this from the hops, definitely. And I mean, with the Pilsner and Vienna, I mean, you get a really nice color on this. It's got a nice like amber color to it, I think. And like you said, you get a sweetness, but it's not cloying. It's got a dry finish on it. Definitely does. Like you get a little bit up front, but that's also helped by the citrus notes of the hops.
Yep. So, really, the beers that I'm going to make in the beginning, they're going to be lower ABV hoppy beers.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like the least hoppy of what I can put out. And then I'm going to be kind of like staying this like low ABV, pale ale, IPA, dry hop lager, stuff like that.
I love how you kind of like casually mentioned low gravity and your Space Cadet brewing. You're just really on brand with all this.
There's a lot of similarities, I guess.
So
I love this sheet behind you, by the way. I just keep looking back at it and laughing. Like, are those on your bed? Are those on your bed upstairs? Is your girl just like, when are we gonna take the Space Cadet out of our personal lives?
It's not. It's just a throuple right now. There's my house is kind of crazy. Like like old cat lady. Like I'm like a little astronaut guy. I guess there's just odd stuff, odd astronaut things all over my house. And I wasn't like a super into astronauts and stuff before. Like this was kind of like it kind of came all together in the last couple of years, but it's I don't know, starting to get weird. I get like sometimes I'm like sitting there at night. I'm like imagining what it's gonna be like in a couple of years. Like it's already like this. I've just kind of like set the wheels in motion where now I'm just an astronaut.
I was telling Tom, I was like, he's really invested in this brand. Like all the spaceman stuff. I mean, it's great. It's awesome marketing. And exactly what you just said. I'm like, I knew it. I knew it's just space shit everywhere at his house.
And just wait. It's like I was in Westchester 2 weeks ago. My girlfriend, like she was in Mexico. She comes up like all the time, but like I dragged her to Westchester to like take pictures of me, like videos, like running around Westchester dressed as an astronaut. And there's like all these college kids like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
It's probably the best time to release the beer and walk around like an astronaut with Halloween right around the corner. They're like, it's Halloween, whatever.
Yeah,
true.
It's way less weird.
Yes.
I mean, gotta applaud the girlfriend, man. Like followed you around, like you're forcing her to take pictures of you.
I'm sure she still thinks I'm crazy, but like when I first like kind of explained to her like what my vision was, she was just like, okay, I don't really understand it. I think I had to like put some stuff out, have her see like I think people like.
You made her watch Apollo 13 like 10 times to see if she gets it.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Do you get it?
There's a lot of space documentaries. Trying to figure out, like beer names and stuff.
Oh man, just set the mood with a good space documentary.
Dan and I are big label shoppers, and I feel like this is one that would catch our eyes. The illustration is fantastic on it.
I think so. Individually, the cans are nice. With it being a single batch brewery, so there's 1,920 cans of this out in the market. Next batch, there's gonna be 1,920 cans out in the market. Batch after that, 1,920 cans. It's once you're done drinking this, like you really should save it. And I want people to kind of hold on to them because one of the beers looks nice, but when you start, like I have a bunch of these illustrations. When you start to stack them together, and there's like 5, 6 of them in a row. That's really when the illustrations start to like oh, there's something to this beyond just a nice looking can.
Oh, nice. It's like comic segments and stuff as they go. Like
so this is Splash-Not. So like it's single batch beer. So the whole thing revolves around this character, the Space Cadet. So he is a Space Cadet, like he's training to go to the moon. But he's a Space Cadet also in the fact that like he's just daydreaming. So he's not actually on the moon. So the cans getting released are a storyboard of him traveling to space, not actually traveling to space.
That's what I was thinking, like the comic boards, like as you go across, like and read a comic, you're going like, going through each section, everything is all gonna like tell a story. And it's great. It's got that retro astronaut look to it too. Similar to like how Fallout is. Very just like not steampunk, but like that retro sci-fi look to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the whole space race era, like the 60s into the 70s, was like very, transformative. And it's like, it was kind of like an insane era where there was like, old school stuff happening from like still remnants of like World War II and like, the social revolution. And then coming into this age where we're like literally walking on the moon, and mix that with something like so basic, like a black and white cartoon. It's kind of like I'm trying to mix the two things together.
Man, we're just getting like a peek into Richie's like on demand on History Channel.
Yeah,
man, I wish we could have the girlfriend on to just be like, blink twice if you're okay.
Seen Gravity 4,000 times.
She's like every day. It's Halloween now, so you're gonna watch Alien together.
It's less. I will say this: as much as it's about space, and I have this giant thing behind me, and like there's all this space stuff. The brand is really supposed to be more about the character Space Cadet. I've said this in the past. Like it's the same way that like Guardians of the Galaxy is like you wouldn't consider Guardians of the Galaxy like a space movie. It's like a superhero. It's about the actual characters themselves.
Yeah.
The space is the background for the story. That's really what it's supposed to be.
Okay. Nah, yeah, it's cool like to kind of have the beer kind of represent like different elements of his story too. Like you said, like this is your approachable, like low gravity kind of like beer for everyone. And, this is him technically, and now he's in a pool. He's getting his feet wet. So getting into it.
Exactly. So like, astronauts, when they train to go to space, they train in pools. So like he's training in like a public pool as opposed to,
Yeah.
And this is a photo of Richie being on a list in his neighborhood in Philadelphia. They're like, nextdoor.com is like, have you seen that weirdo at the bar?
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely made the right choices as far as like the art direction. The people you have producing this for you are doing a great job.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
The
there's
artwork.
a lot of it is like I'm trying to like tell people like I have this vision in my head, but like I'm not an artist. Like I'm trying to like I have to like bring together these like creative creators to kind of bring the vision to life. But like the one thing that I keep fighting is from the beginning, even now, people keep telling me to add color to it, and there's like the brand is black and white. Like I need kind of that basic.
The black and white, dude. It works, man. Like I wouldn't even put color.
Like even the hat itself is like Permian football. It's like there's something about black and white that just has like this like raw like energy to it.
I feel the same way. Some other breweries have really spoken to me with that too. 10 Barrel in Oregon's got their pub beer, and it's just a black and white label. It just says pub beer, and it's simple, it's no frills, and it does the job. And there's a simplicity to the black and white, but also it just has that retro look to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a newspaper comic.
Definitely. And I think it's just a little bit different, and it's like kind of staying like our style is like, I'm trying to be different from everybody else. So it's just, as being simple and not doing something crazy is almost different.
Tom, can you scroll back up to that Richie picture of him as an astronaut? Dude, I forgot about that photo.
Oh, I did not.
That's the picture. That's my LinkedIn picture.
Well, that was also your
Instagram
picture for a while.
Forever. Yeah, I completely forgot about it, and then it popped up, and I almost spit out my beer.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, as soon as you released the name Space Cadet, I was like, of course. I mean, it's his Instagram profile picture.
So
it's been that forever.
Let me tell you the story real quick. I said this on my podcast, but I'll just give you the quick overview. So there was a meme like 5 years ago of Ben Simmons dressed as an astronaut. It was like, Ben Simmons, would you rather shoot a 3-pointer or go to the moon? And then it was just like him with it was like him with a serious look on his face, dressed. It was this exact picture, but it was Ben Simmons' head. And I just thought it was so funny. Like he was dead serious, and it was just like for some reason just stuck with me. And I was like, that'd be funny. Like it's just a head. Like I told my friend, I was like texting my group chat, like, who knows how to use Photoshop? My friend's like, lawyer, he doesn't know how to use Photoshop. He's like, I have Photoshop, let me try it. And it's this picture. This picture of my face was taken at what's the place in Phoenixville with the pinball machines?
Root Down or
Root Down.
Rec Room.
Root Down. It was it was a picture of me at Root Down that like I took, and then we photoshopped it onto this. And it was just like my picture. It was just like some stupid throwaway. This is funny. Post it, and then like I was trying to like figure out, when I was trying to determine like what I wanted the brewery to be, and like how I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted to like for a while I wanted to make it like, because I've always kind of wanted to open up my own place. I wanted it to be like Tevlin Brewing Company, but I didn't think that like I'm not a marketable person. It's like who the fuck is this guy? Like how do I make it like myself and get myself in front of the brand? Someone like like Bill and Ron or like Sam Calagione or Ken Grossman. Like those used to be like the top breweries, and like the Trogners are doing it, but like there's not many people that are like still in front of their brand. There's not many new breweries that are like putting their stamp on it. Like this is us. It's like it's a lot of different people that come together, and it's just like generic can art. So I'm like, how do I make this different? I want to make it myself, and I realized like this picture of me. Like, what if I could just like take this and run with it? And that developed into like I came home, I like drew down this picture, like I posted on my Instagram the other day of like this picture that I drew of myself, like this character that was like based off me, and then I got connected to my illustrator now, Mac Audio, who like kind of took it and adapted it to what it is right now.
I mean, it's definitely working. Like I love the feel of everything, the monochromatic look to everything, the idea to do everything black and white, to have like, a theme, we're suckers for a theme here.
Yeah. We love a good gimmick. Like gimmick's such a, it sounds derogatory, but like we're suckers for a good gimmick. Like
the theme.
We like, like
well, that's what it started off as. It's like, this is a gimmick, but it's like, I kept thinking about it, and it was a lot of just like sitting there and thinking about it. It's like at this point, like it's not, you're not even like, wasn't even writing a business plan. I wasn't doing anything else. I was just like sitting there thinking about like, what is this brand? How can I play with this? And it just like, oh, I can do this. And it like, well, that I can do like infinite things with it. Like, changing them to beer labels. Like I can do that forever. Doing this, it's like it felt like very much like something that wasn't just like because I've thought about stuff in the past, like the Tevlin Brewing Company thing, like where it stops me is like there's limits to that, or some other name, like there was limits to that. Like this, it was the first one that kind of spoke to me. That was like, I think I can take this and run with it, and really, it's obviously like been much more refined and changed a little bit, but really like. When I sat down and drew that picture, like 90% of the brand I had figured out right then.
Yeah, I feel like you hit like the lane, and you're like, I'm here for this. Yeah. Like
it just made sense.
Yeah,
Tevlin Brewing is really something I could see Bill T doing down the road. Old Bill T on Untapped.
Obviously, I love the name Tevlin. It's my name, but it's like. Growing up, like everybody's like, "Oh, my name is Richie Tevlin." Like, what do you say, Tevlin? I was like, all right, like obviously I want this, but it's just like as a brand, it's hard to do. Also, I've heard like many people say brands need a hard C sound in them. I don't know why, but there's a lot of like people that are like high end brand people that like
research to that.
Yeah,
Coca-Cola.
Obviously, there's brands like Amazon and stuff, but like if you look at the brands, there's like an overwhelming number of brands that have a hard C sound to them.
Yeah.
Let's get into how this all came to be. So,
we've been dancing around it a little bit here, talking about how you kind of drew this all up and kind of how you dived into this. But like, let's get down to the Avengers origin story of Space Cadet.
Yeah, so you're brewing at Victory. When we first met you, you were an R&D brewer in Parksburg, right?
Yes.
And from there, they opened up the Center City location. You got moved down there.
Well, I was there, but I was just waiting for it to open.
Yeah, we were still in the thralls of I guess the
COVID.
the COVID and the
Yeah.
pandemic. So
Yeah.
it was like a delayed opening for that, and we all kind of networked at the time where you were just getting that started.
I mean, you
Yeah.
guys were the first thing I did. I had gone when I was at Flying Dog right after college. I had done some beer dinners, and I had done some like random outreach with sales, and I've gone on like sales calls with like, everyone I've been at. But you guys were like kind of the first people that I went out to, where I was like speaking on behalf of Victory.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, come into our very professional podcast where we talk dick and fart jokes, and then talk about Victory Philly for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot. I mean, that's like not a normal thing. I think that they either didn't understand what this was, or they just realized like as the brewer at Victory, or at Philly, I was gonna do something different, or gonna act a little bit different to like what they had done before. But I remember like listening to the podcast that you guys did. I think we did with Ricky or something. Like when you were like, yeah, I wiped my ass with my sock. I was like, oh my god, like I just like my manager. This is gonna be normal.
Oh man, did I talk about that on that episode?
And I remember like texting you guys beforehand. I was just like I don't know if we can talk about this.
Can you leave the sock talk out of that?
I felt like such a loser because I was just like, these guys invited me on, and like now I'm telling them like what I can and can't talk about. It was like
I can't talk about shit covered socks.
I mean, understandable, but
it is honestly that episode was it was Ricky from Stable 12, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, he spent all day shoveling, so he was just
because we
having post shovel beers because we've all been there shoveling in the snow. Post shovel beers hit hard.
we picked up beer in the middle of a blizzard.
Yeah.
From him, like there was like luckily we had all-wheel drive vehicles to get there.
We're the only at Stable 12 just hanging out.
Yeah, so he was like, I'm shutting down right after this, and went home and shoveled and just immediately started drinking and didn't stop until after the podcast.
It was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was a good one. Looking back on it, and because we've talked about it, and I kind of went back to like, how bad was Ricky for that? And I was like, actually, it was great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was like we knew he was wasted, but he didn't come off as like he wasn't like shit faced. Where
he was like that fun drunk. Like,
I mean, this is the beer industry. Like,
yeah.
It is what it is.
So all right, so you went to you were at Victory Center City. How long were you there?
A year and a half. I was actually in Philly for like a year and a half. I think the second time I was at Victory, I think I was there for like 3 years.
Okay.
3 years total.
So you decide to. So what's the decision there? Like, how long were you thinking about it?
I was always going to do my own open up my own place. It was. I had a lot of trouble getting jobs after college, and my whole kind of career when I was brewing, I thought I was kind of always overlooked. I have like no filter, so it was like I would be like in interviews and I'm like, yeah, I want to open up my own place. I want to learn how to brew, and I'll be good. And I feel like, well,
I'm just using you as a stepping stone for my career.
Yeah, I was like, I wrote this letter to Yeppe from Ela Genius, relating my life to Vision Quest, about how I was on this Vision Quest to like open up my own brewery, and about how I want to do all these things. He's just like, this was an incredible letter. This was amazing, but like, we're not hiring you. And I was like, I just can't help myself. Like, I just try to like, I don't know if I like can't lie to people or something, but I kept. I think it held me back a little bit, but the goal has always been to open up my own place. But I was just like never ready, or I didn't know how, or I didn't feel comfortable. Leaving Victory and kind of doing this felt like a very natural thing. It didn't feel forced.
Felt like you were going the direction that you wanted to go.
Yeah,
and I finally,
and I feel really comfortable where I'm at right now. And like, if I had done this earlier, like, I don't know, like, it would have been great to be 25 years old and, if I'd done this 25, like what would I have been like now? But like I don't know if I would have been there. So like I think it is what it is. I was ready to go.
And like the wealth of information you got from Victory too. Like, I mean, that had to be like a lot of like great, like just learning the industry a lot more. And, it was exactly like what you said. It was like, I'm using all of these jobs as stepping stones towards my ultimate goal.
Yeah, I guess it was less so. It's not like I was like, oh, I need to learn this from them. I don't know if it was like a maturity thing or I was just doing enough at Victory as far as like just being out on my own, like because I didn't have a manager right there every day, like I would have to like call them every day to check in every week. So maybe it was just like I felt more independent at that point and it felt like
it was almost like they kind of like that gave you the confidence to make that leap. Like you're like, I can, now you're on your own. You're kind of like, we've been down there. We know what it was like. It was you in a fishbowl.
Yeah. And I guess it wasn't like before it wasn't lack of confidence. Like I've always been like ignorantly confident about like how good that I'm good at brewing, but maybe it was just like a confidence as far as like, why
almost like a reassurance. Like I can, all right. So I'm here. I'm brewing by myself. Like I'm doing this already. Like, why can't I just do this without the Victory label?
Exactly. It's like, if you take a step back and like look at yourself from like the third person, it's like, why am I not doing this? What's stopping me from just doing something on my own?
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing. So like, it's hard for somebody, that's just like a midlife crisis type of situation, like, you look at yourself in a different perspective and you're like, it just because you're like doing stuff just because you're doing it. You don't like look at it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear midlife crisis out of you. I think we have like we have like a decade on you right now. And you have way more facial hair than me.
Nah, it wasn't a midlife crisis, but it was like, I'm a different person than I was 3 years ago. And even like 2 years ago, it's like, I don't know, like even my friends think that I'm different, I guess, but I feel like a different person, I guess.
Hey man, I mean, this is exactly what you said before you even started Victory, is what you wanted to do, is brew for yourself and do this whole thing. So,
and I will say this, all that time I was thinking like I want to start my own brewery. This does not feel anything like I thought
it was going to feel.
Today I had beer in market that is my own all over like 8 counties in Philadelphia, and I woke up this morning like none of that. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like in my head, I'm like waiting for this like crescendo of like it's happening, and like there's not that.
You're just like, yeah.
It just like hasn't hit you yet.
No, well, yeah. I mean, I talked to some of my other friends that were entrepreneurs. Really, my one friend Kenny, he's been doing it since college. He's been an entrepreneur. He's just like doing startups, like various places, starting his own place, helping out with other people. And I was like explaining it to him. And he goes, "That means you're in it, bro. Like, welcome. This is what it is. It doesn't stop. It's just like you're in it, and it's not like you're gonna hit some point where you are then comfortable. There's no like ledges. Like you're the head of it. Like if you're not pushing forward, it's like the resting, like the feeling comfortable, like that's for your employees. Like you need to keep pushing. This is it. This is what it feels like. And I think it's just being comfortable in that situation. You know, with uncertainty is what it is.
Totally. And it's a different vibe for the brewing industry too. The way you're approaching it versus like how like the classic tap room, like, hey, I have to brew beer. I have to have a place to serve that beer. That old school was like the tap room atmosphere where like, I want to brew
I want that. But that costs a shitload of money.
Exactly. Like
I told like my parents own a little bit. They own a little bit. It's like this is a bootstrap business. I'm like, this is like not like I'm getting a lot of money and like I'm figuring this out. Like even if you start off with a small tap room, it costs a shitload of money.
It does.
This is
There's a lot of
This is-
licensing, insurance, and everything.
literally like all together probably between like I don't want to say dollar amounts. It's a lot of money to even
It's a
get to
lot.
the point where I'm at, and this is it gets started with breweries like or even a tap room is way more money than this. So this is how I'm starting. I'm keeping like complete 100% control of doing it my way.
Yeah, it's a different approach to it. Whereas you saw people who had the tap room first, and then they went to distribution. Then they started getting into like getting out to wholesalers and getting their beer out in the stores. You're kind of doing it like, hey, I'm going to make the beer and get it out onto the wholesalers first, and then the tap room is potentially like off in space, ready. Yeah,
I want
waiting.
to tap room in Philly in the next year, but I was never going to do that. Like starting off 3 barrels at a time. Let's sell some beer to some locals, build up a mug club, do all that shit. No, like that's like I'm thinking bigger than that. I want to be much bigger than that. This is
so I feel like you're kind of following how like 2 locals kind of went about their deal.
Yeah, it started off as a contract brewery. I mean, like what I would like.
Well, they started out home brewing, small batch. They build up a name. They got contract brewing. They got into Lincoln Financial Stadium and kind of built their name. Like even when we talked to them on the podcast, they were still like I was picking up beer at the dude's house,
Yeah.
and then they kind of build up that name for themselves, and then they opened up a tap room, and everyone was like, all right, we got to go there to get 2 local brewing.
I think it's a little bit faster than that, though. I mean, they started off self-distro for a little bit. Like, I jumped right into Penn, and like I said, like my beer went out for distribution today. It's sold out. It's a 30-barrel batch. It's
I
crazy.
mean, yes, it's it's not the same.
But yes, it is like that. But when I and I love Rich, I think yes, it is very much like that. When I kind of look at who I am copying style wise, I think it's what I look at is Evil Twin and Yeppe. I mean that's who I was like super into. I mean when I first got into beer in 2013, 2012, he was the hottest name ever.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking what I'm doing now, it's basically the same thing. I mean, he was brewing up at like 12% Beer Project up in Connecticut, and they were an awesome contract brewery. I think I got connected with somebody good and trying to put out like these small batch like exclusive beers.
Yeah, and your contract, I guess your contract is through just speaking hyper locally for our listeners at Workhorse, right?
Yeah, and Workhorse, makes amazing beer. I think that they're like one of the most underrated brewers in the area.
100% underrated.
Yeah, we literally just had this conversation about how underrated they are because all they do is make beers and they execute.
Their beer is so good, and it's like their brew house is a 30-barrel roll system. It's like completely automated. All their shit is like amazing. And then the people that are brewing the beer, it's like James and Nate are like some of the best brewers in like all of the entire state. Like they're incredible, and like a super small team. So their hands are like their fingerprints on everything.
Yeah.
When I was like asking around, like I even made like a Facebook post like who's contract brewing. Like that was so many people hit me up. I talked to basically everybody who's contract brewing in the area, and like 5-10 people into it. I heard Workhorse was doing. I was like, I want Workhorse. Like I'm.
That's awesome.
It kind of worked out.
Yeah, I mean we've always spoken highly about Workhorse. Was it last week, Dan, that we had the conversation about Workhorse with Greg?
Yeah, I think we just kind of like gushed about how like they nail the traditional styles.
Yeah,
the traditional, and then also some of their other stuff. I'm looking up their beers right now. Their beers, what is it? It's Par something.
Par Punch is
fantastic. Punch. Awesome beer. So like that's not traditional style. It's like everything they can do. Make new.
That's like a shandy, right?
No, it's a pale ale.
But I think it has. I don't want to speak for them, but I think it does have. It says citrus juices, mango and pineapple.
Yeah.
That beer's awesome though, and it's like they're all their lagers are amazing. Their IPAs, like
Yeah,
obviously, I'm gonna go.
like
With
I
them.
mean they Queen of Prussia, like everything that they do, like when they first started, it was very like traditional. Everything it was a very basic label, like Russian Imperial Stout, West Coast
Yeah,
IPA.
they're calling
It
the
just
beers what they actually were.
yeah
Yeah, like
yeah
the workhorse New England, which like the classic one was hands down one of the best. So like it's gone through some iterations now. It's like a hazy, but the classic like workhorse New England was that like it was like that heady topper New England or that Lawson's New England.
yeah. So you're contracting with Workhorse. Like what's the process like to like figure out where you're going to contract?
Well, you have to figure out, like how much beer people can make and like what they're, can they actually contract brew for you? Like, this is how much I'm planning on brewing. Can you guys make that? Do you have the capacity? And then you have to like work through, some recipes. So I send like a bunch of people recipes. They give me pricing back, and then a lot of it is like logistical stuff. So you're looking, how do you get this beer from a contract brewer to a customer? And there's a lot of things that you don't think about. Like, all right, you have this beer. Now, where do you put all that beer? Are you going to sell all that beer?
You did a
yourself?
30-barrel batch. Like how are you getting? Like I guess you logistically have to plan something between Workhorse and then Penn to like pick that up and like have that like delivered.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, Workhorse distributes through Penn. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that I was like, what was the choice behind Penn? Had to be the fact that there was a relationship there.
Yeah, I was figuring that you had like a previous relationship through your previous
Victory,
line.
well, Victory's wholesalers Penn also. But I talked to all the wholesalers in the area, and truthfully, none of them wanted me. I mean, there were some small places that wanted me. I was talking to Stones for a while, but I think that I was just like looking at something a little bit bigger than what they were ready. I mean, they were literally in the midst of opening up their new store.
Okay.
And also, like, they're not a traditional wholesale distributor; like they're imported distributor. So it's kind of localized. But I talked to everybody else, and like a lot of people didn't want. I mean, the craft beer industry is not definitely. I mean, it's not growing right now.
It's not.
Who wants to take on like this like fresh new brand with no money? But I put together this presentation. I talked to Penn, and I mean, they saw that. I mean, every single time I talk to them, like they understand my vision. It's like it's not like I need to explain stuff to them, and it's like they like understand what I'm saying. It's not like I'm telling them something. They're like, all right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna break it down like this because that's what we do everywhere else. Like I feel like I'm a different brewery than everybody else. It just works a little bit differently. So I'm explaining stuff to them, and they're like, yeah, I mean that's different, but like this is how we should do it. They kind of saw the vision, and it seems like everything's working out.
So you mentioned there, it's the time and space where you're starting a new brewery in craft beer, where it's not like, honestly, not an ideal time to start a new brand. Like, what was the?
I think it's a great time. You got to zig when everyone zags. It's like if this sucks, then like you're
Space Cadet out here breaking ankles, man.
but
like,
seriously, there's there's a lot of talk around there being a craft beer bubble, and it's like, there was
craft beer bubble. Craft beer is premium beer, and beer's been around for 3,000 years. It's just
so it's not that it's not that there's anything wrong with craft beer. It's the problem was that there got to a point where, and it was specifically like right before COVID and during COVID, there was an influx of breweries opening up, and it was just people just opening up to like, I'm bored, or like home brewers, like, I'm bored. I brewed a couple good beers.
Yeah, I hate my corporate job. I want to start a brewery.
Yeah. You saw people open up in 2019, 2020 that are already shut down. what is like what are like the hurdles that you have to overcome to be a successful brewery in this point in time?
I mean, you have to make good beer and you have to like be different. And I mean, that's hard. Everyone looks like, oh, I'm gonna be different. Let me post some stupid shit on Instagram. It's like, all right, you're like 10 years behind. It's like people don't understand kind of like how it works. Um, I the brewery closure thing is like what I think about the bubble is I feel very strongly that craft beer belongs in this, like 15 to 18% of the market range as far as, where how much beer in the beer industry is considered craft or like premium alcohol. Um, and like all these places opening up, like you said, people like, their ITT job didn't work and then they decide like, fuck this, I'm going to take daddy's money and start a brewery. I'm like, all right, well, I want to buy your brewery 2 years from now when you go out of business. It's like in 2 years, there's going to be so much empty space that's just like people put all this money to develop these buildings. They bought all this like brand new brewing equipment. I would not want to be in the brewing equipment business right now because all these places are going to go out of business. And what 25
it's getting
years,
liquidated, I guess. It's just
25 years ago when everyone was snatching up milk and dairy equipment to like make beer equipment. Well, imagine now you have like literally a Cadillac brewing system for dirt cheap. It's like when all people go out of business, I'm just gonna buy it because nobody else wants it. And
It's just right now is like a crazy time because you see places like I guess one of the biggest ones is like Necromancer out in Pittsburgh. Like they had an established brand, made good beer in an emerging market, and they just
I don't know. I mean, they were making beer that they call dead beer. It's like people that make like barley wine. It's like clearly, yes, let's make beer that everyone hates.
But let's
bring back the British strong ale.
Yeah, our business model is let's make beer that didn't work.
But it was kind of what was needed to succeed at the time, is like something to set
because the haze
apart.
craze started like declining, and they kind of came in at a pretty nice time. Like
I think they went too hard into it.
I think I agree. I think they steered
the marketing was great.
They
got a ton of attention. They were saying the right things, but
I think they also tried to expand too quickly.
Also, yeah, like I said, I also don't know much about them. Like we're small businesses. You could say this and that as far as business strategy. I think a lot of stuff is like, business finances, like background stuff. Like I have no idea anything about their business. I don't want to speak on
like they were so close to hitting that spark that like Richie getting into Lincoln Financial, they had their Steelers beer and it was like this close to being like it's gonna be in Heinz, like it's going there. They were this close.
As much as like they're making they're like making beer that's like it was dead. I was very surprised when that got announced that they were going out of business.
Yeah, because they had an epic Steelers like cream ale, and like what a great style to have for like beer drinking and football. Like the cream ale, like
especially in Pittsburgh, like a working class city.
Yeah, exactly. Like they hit the right note there, and like
especially in a time in craft beer where old styles are so popular.
Yeah,
they were kind of doing the right thing.
And you have that niche, like everyone's kind of trying to be. There was a while, I don't know if it's the same anymore, but everyone was kind of trying to be human robot. Human robot hit that like we're doing lagers and we're doing lagers really good,
and we're doing a damn good job
in a time when everybody was all about hazy IPAs, and they built kind of a niche which became almost like the standard now.
But they were also doing amazing hazy IPAs on top of that. They're like, hey, we're gonna do these amazing lagers, but try some of these too.
I mean, Andrew's an amazing brewer, and they have a great ownership, and it's one of those things that just kind of worked. But I think people look at it like they're reading a book by the cover of like, oh, they carved themselves a niche by being, oh, we're the lager brewery, and everyone kind of was like, oh, we need to do this now.
Yeah, I think that they have a great team, and maybe they don't want me to say this, or other people like crucify me for this, but like they could have. I think they could have made any style. Like the team that they have,
They
and,
can
like,
make anything. And
how Andrew's making. They could have made English ales, Belgian ales, whatever they were making, and like it was going to be a cool one. Like a lot of people just like oh we're new, we're doing stuff. Like I think you're just copying Human Robot.
Yeah.
It's like they get a
Yeah.
lot of attention, and rightfully so. Like they're doing a lot of great things. But I think a lot of people just like think that they're cool, and they're just looking at Human Robot.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's the way you execute it too, because like you could look at it like Farce and Maine does English styles, and,
saisons.
like, yeah, mainly like English styles and saisons, and it's like, but they're not like that's why we're cool. Like
They're like
it's
true
for
to
execution.
themselves.
Yeah.
It's like there's other brews that are making lager brews that are like similar to Human Robot, but they're not looking at another brewery trying to copy them. It's like a weird thing to do. It's like they're trying to like do the best they can,
Yes.
like in their vision. If you're looking at somebody else, if you're in a race and you're looking at somebody else, like, you're not going to do well. You got to focus on what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's almost like it's like a brewery that makes one style that's like a really like fad style, and then they're like, you know what? I see Human Robot. We're going to call ourselves the Lager Company now. Something like that, something along those lines.
No comment.
So
I was gonna say, like, even on the other side of that spectrum, you got like breweries, and we're speaking hyper locally again, but Hidden River, like, hey, they make hazies and that's what they do. Like, but they were known for those saisons, and like, they've gone through changes, but they've really hit a niche in the last like 3 or 4 years where they're just like, we make damn good hazy IPAs.
I've heard a lot of people say that they're gonna like pop. I mean, obviously a lot of people know them, but like they're gonna pop on like the national scene soon. And
I mean, you got to respect, like, they're unabashedly like, we're doing a shit ton of hazies, and we're doing really good hazies. And
Troon does that too in New Jersey.
And yes, Troon.
Yeah.
But and Troon is kind of like almost similar in your style, like small batch. We're doing limited releases, like come and get it. Here's like they kind of got that like forefront almost of like that like food truck style where it's like, here's what we're brewing, here's what we're releasing, this is when we're releasing it, come get it. And then when it's out, it's out. Like they just had like they found that niche, and as much as people want to hate on it, like it was fantastic marketing, a fantastic business model, and it's a success.
I think, speaking from like a business owner's perspective, obviously, like I put one beer out, like who am I to say? But like when I think about this, it's like if you want to keep putting new stuff out all the time, you can't, unless you're some sort of freak genius. It's hard to be creative like that. Like you kind of have to find something and be creative in that little thing and find people that are attracted to what that is.
Yeah.
But to like reinvent the wheel every single time, like who do you think you are that you're going to be like perfect at this, perfect at this, perfect at this? I think it's, you got to find what you're good at and kind of like perfect that.
You have to stay in your lane. It's a bad thing to say, but stay in your lane kind of thing where you're just like, hey, this is what we do, and we're going to do it damn well, and like people are going to recognize us for it. It's not like we're suddenly going to put out a lager 12 pack of variety lagers and be a lager brewery now. But
yeah. No, I mean, and you like going back to Hidden River is a perfect example. It's like they're known by most people, like they do hazies. You go to their tap room and you look at the menu and there's 15 hazies, but sprinkled in there's an Italian Pils and there's a Czech side pool. And it's like, when you go there, you're like, oh shit, now I have to try this now. Cause I came here for the hazies, but you guys are doing the Czech side pool. Fuck yeah. I'm going to try that.
And those are good too. It's like that. I think that's what separates.
Yeah, exactly. They do them just as well.
Yeah,
like,
great. They have a saison program that's great.
They made a West Coast IPA with Nectaron that didn't taste like a hazy. Like they made an actual fucking West Coast out of that beer. That's insane.
Yeah, that was a great
out of that hop. Like that's not a hop where I would say like that's gonna be my bittering hop.
Nectaron came out after I think, or got popular after I left Victory. Yeah, and I've been drinking Tecates for the last year because I have no money.
You poured one out earlier. I saw you when we were first.
I got a lot more. It's
I was like,
it's
that dude's got a Ducati right there.
I don't know if I've ever had a beer in what is it? Nectarine?
Nectaron.
Nectaron. And it's like that's supposed to be the coolest thing ever. Like I need to catch up. It's
It hit the scene and everybody went, we're gonna do a hazy with it. And then they did a West Coast IPA and like they had to put it in I guess they put it in the boil because I mean it's a West Coast. Man, they made it taste great.
you can dry hop with West Coast IPAs, but it's
Well, you can, but like you still have to boil something,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But they probably did bitter. It was in the different hop and then just dry.
It
hop.
had to be. That's what I'm saying. Like it said predominantly nectar on, but I'm like that had to be on the dry hop.
It's also like like all these hop nectarine, like whatever the next one is. Crush just came out of those HPC 586. That's actually my favorite.
I hate 586.
That's my favorite. But it's
that peachy one.
yeah, I love it. Peach
Ooh.
rings.
Ugh.
But it's all these hops, like they developed like Amarillo. This beer Citra Mosaic. Those aren't going away, but like there's like these random hops that are like 5 years ago were cool, so they planted all of them. And I mean, it's a great time to be an IPA brewer because hops are dirt cheap right now because everyone's brewing lagers. But like all these, Amarillo's amazing now because nobody wants it because it's supposed to be like old school.
Yeah,
but,
it's like a boomer hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the prime of the prime. Like, would you rather have like the best of this or like what you consider like the top hop? But you're getting like
mid nectaron.
Like you think like random brewing in Central PA is getting like the best of the nectarine hops? Like no way. Those are getting like the dregs of the nectarine hops.
Yeah,
you have like the very best of the Amarillo hops.
But it's
also a third of the price.
We've talked about it on the podcast too, and it's like hop crops are so like the yields are so different. Like, do you remember when Galaxy? You remember when Galaxy was popping off? Was that like 2020?
Yeah.
And then the 2021 batch tastes like peanut butter, and it was awful
because they grow them too fast, and it's just like it takes the whole. I think why brewing is so cool is that like you're so connected to the malt and grain industry. People don't realize that. Like it's like you're dependent on like the grains themselves, like how good they are, but then also like you have to be looking at, I think they destroyed 30% of crop fields this year because it's like gas prices. Like if you have too many, then like the price drops. So you have to like control them and then like try to like predict out. But it's not like it's not like corn where you grow it and then it's good. It takes like 7 years to like get prime. So like when breweries are having like ADHD and they're changing shit up all the time, like the hop growers gotta be like, dude, we're making great hops. You guys like calm down.
Yeah, I've been seeing I think what I've been seeing with searches, Michigan is like popping off with like hop growing, I guess, with the Great Lakes and everything.
Yeah, Michigan Chinook is supposed to taste just like Mosaic.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like, like Michigan, like they finally are like settling into the lake effect weather, and it's like producing crazy great hops right
now. Guys, Faygo isn't selling as much anymore. Let's start growing hops.
The Insane Clown Posse is they're getting in the hop business now over there in Detroit. Eminem's got some Cascade in his backyard.
I always go back to it. The perfect example is Galaxy, because when we first started like really getting into breweries, like having brewers on, like we would have like a Galaxy beer and we'd be like, ooh la la, like this guy with the most expensive hop, Galaxy, ooh. And then the next year it's like you didn't see Galaxy anywhere because it came out and it was like Ryan from Warwick told us, he's like, it's fucking peanut butter. It's awful.
Yeah, it tasted bad. I remember there were a lot of breweries that made like single hop IPAs with Galaxy, being like, this is a Galaxy dominant one. And then they were like, just forget that second batch the next year. Like, it's funny.
We can't put it out.
And it's funny because the third year it kind of came back and it was tasting great, but the Galaxy was so cheap, people were putting in everything then. Like it was like you could like after that one bad crop, it drove value down because hops like Nectaron and all these other like the other New Zealand hops, the other like Pacific hops from Rawaka.
Yeah, like 2 years like Rawaka, Motueka. It was like, oh, you can't even get them, and now it's just like, oh, you want these? These are cheap.
Yeah, dude, they're in everything now.
Yeah,
but you're getting mid versions of like what were like amazing like year two, and it goes back to what you were saying about Amarillo. Like Amarillo's at its height now, and people are still clamoring over a mid Motueka.
Yeah, instead of like, oh, we've created a new adjective for how hops taste. Like we have to make every single hop taste exactly like this. 2 years ago it was peach rings, and then like I don't know what nectarine is now. Like nectarine,
Nectaron's
does
like
it just taste like Galaxy? Like
it's like a very like dank like like
citrusy stuff. Like orange peel like
Galaxy.
It's but it's like the consistency though. There hasn't been a down.
There's also, I mean, hops obviously like they grow up through like these breeding programs and like they give them names. And then a couple of years ago, all these hop companies were like, oh, craft brewers, they put cool, unique labels on, and they charge more money. As a hop company, let's make our boxes more designed. We'll give it a cool name. We'll make some Instagram posts. We'll charge twice as much money for it, and like just push it on to the consumer. And then, what happened? Everyone started making lagers. I wonder why that was. Do you think all the breweries decided to like lagers all of a sudden?
A lot of boxes just hanging out in the walk-in.
Yeah, or do you think that hot boxes that were like $30 a pound had a little bit something to do with that?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Ziploc bags lately of just stuff.
Yeah. The brewers are like, no, we like the nuanced flavor of this. All right.
All right, so we're running up against
a lot of industry complaining going on.
We're running up against.
I'm talking too much shit. Everyone's like, dude,
I'm here for it. Like I understand it, man. I get it.
We're running up against time here, so I want to let's wrap it up. Like, what's next for Space Cadet? You're obviously your first batch is going out right now, splash or not, and like, so what's next? What's the you have your next batch coming out, and then what are we going from there?
Next is a West Coast IPA, 6.2%. West Coast IPA with Simcoe and Cascade. And really, of all the stuff I've done for the last year, planning my launch party has been by far the most stressful thing I've ever done. It's like I've, all this stuff about, starting business. It's the first time you do anything, but hiring DJs, setting up a party, getting people to buy tickets, like promoting stuff. This is very stressful. Like I've done all the beer stuff. I've not done party stuff. So like half my time right now is just kind of spent setting up this party. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So welcome to the front of house, sir.
Yeah. Crazy. But it's, it's just kind of rolling it out. I mean, still it's like you said, like you like the first can, but there's still, it's still a lot of like getting people to understand what the brand is, understand who Space Cadet is. I mean, that's who I'm selling. I'm selling Space Cadet. Space Cadet is supposed to be like told in parallel to like our story.
Yeah, he's the brand. There's more to him.
Yeah, it's less about the name Space Cadet, more about like the character himself. So there's a lot of stuff kind of slowly rolling out. It's just a lot of stuff going on right now.
I like that you went with a West Coast IPA though. I'm a big fan, so I'm excited for that one.
So all right, so next step is the launch party. So let's get some deets on the launch party and where you can get tickets, how people can get in on this, and then let's wrap up.
All right, so launch party November 1st at the Boozy Mutt. So Sam and Alice, my best friends, they opened up a dog bar last year. So they're closing down the whole bar. No dogs allowed at this event, but it's going to be it's called Studio 51, like a mix between like Studio 54 and Area 51. It's a costume, Halloween, disco dance party. I'm getting Patrick Richards, he's a crazy DJ, getting him out there. We're pimping out the whole place upstairs, lights, smoke machines, everything, setting it all up. It's going to look awesome.
Oh, my.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be nuts. There's going to be a lot of people there.
Disco sci-fi, man. That sounds awesome. That sounds like a party, man.
Yeah, I do. So I want kind of people to figure this out on their own, but like I want people, this whole Space Cadet thing, like I want them to become the fifth mascot, the unofficial fifth mascot of Philadelphia. What people are going to realize is that, like, you know, the personality that I'm giving him, like, he's going to have a personality, and I want people to be fans of it. Like, ultimately, you know, like 3 years down the line, you know, like I want to walk into a beer fest and I want to see people walking around in astronaut costumes.
Like astronaut helmet. You want this? You want Space Gritty right here. You want this guy? Yeah.
Space Gritty.
You want him to hit the scene like Gritty. Remember when Gritty hit the scene? You're just like, fuck, this is awesome.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing with Space Cadet. Is like you want this guy to hit the beer scene, like be like that new like face that you're gonna see at like you're gonna go to Lagerfest for Human Robot. And you're not gonna be thinking about Human Robot beer. You're gonna be sitting there with your space helmet on, ready for that Space Cadet beer.
I think it's gonna bring a little bit of energy, a little pizzazz, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got a vibe to it
For sure.
So where can people get tickets?
So you can go on my website, www.spacecadetbeer.com. They're $10 a ticket right now. Very reasonable. $10 a ticket is because I've dumped like $3,500 in this thing, and I have no money right now. So it's literally just, I'm not going to make any money.
This man's in his basement with a space sheet and Ducati right now. Buy some fucking tickets off this guy.
I need money. So it's like, this is literally just to like help, you know, offset the price a little bit of the party. Like I am definitely, even if I sell out, I'm still losing money off this thing. But you can go there. We're selling T-shirts. We're selling tickets. You can get a premium ticket that comes with like a to-go 4-pack and some swag and stuff. And it's like $50. You get a free beer at the event and $15 gift card to the Boosting Mud. It's like a $75, $80 value for like $50.
Oh, awesome.
And you're basically using everything right there. But yeah, you get tickets right there. Day of, I think I said the tickets were like $15, but at this point, like I might raise the ticket price now. And we're selling a lot of tickets, and you know, I need people to kind of like buy them beforehand so I can figure out, you know, kind of what's going on. But yeah, $15 day of, $10 before you go. Very reasonable.
I mean, at the door for a party like this, that's reasonable.
It's $5 beers once you get in. If you drink more than 2 beers, you start getting your money back.
Oh, damn. $5 beers too? All right. Yeah. I mean, $15 at the door and $5 beers. You can't beat that.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where are you going? Where are you going in Philly for that deal?
Nowhere in Philly.
Nowhere. I was gonna say nowhere, man.
Yeah, so it's November 1st, 8 to 11 p.m. I'm in the middle right now. We're gonna set up an after party somewhere, and then we should be doing something else that whole weekend. But yeah, the party's the big thing.
Awesome. Yeah. So check it out. SpaceCadetBeer.com. In spacecadet.com/events.
Yes.
We'll take you right there. You can buy tickets through there. Richie, always great having you on, man.
Always a pleasure, man.
Yeah. We hopefully we can talk to you in the future when you have sold a shit ton of beer, and maybe next time we're talking to you, you're getting ready to open up a tap room. Who knows?
He might have a better background then, you know.
We're working on it.
He's gonna have a digital space background. He's like, I'm making money, man.
Yeah, it's like
he's got a full like LED screen back there.
I am fully aware of the fact that like I'm contract brewing, somebody else is making my beer for me. Like, you know me, like it's my entire career has been production brewing. This is a means to an end to get to where I want to do with like maintaining, you know, control of the business. So this is what I'm doing. I'm contract brewing. I'm going to open up a tap room and then production facility.
I'm going to text my friend Sam at Workhorse and get early access. I know he's brewing back there. I'll be like, yo, man, you doing that Space Cadet shit back there? Help me out.
Yeah. So guys, go check out SpaceCadetBeer.com. Check your local distributors. Ask them if they're going to get Space Cadet, if they haven't already gotten it.
I'll put out on my Instagram. I'll put out wherever it's at whenever I need it.
Check them out. Tune into the Brudat podcast. Richie's doing a podcast himself.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about the Brudat podcast, but guys,
that's not we're here for. That's a right.
Yeah, you guys need to come on at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need
100%.
to go into that studio and see what it's like to be in a nice professional
An
studio.
actual podcast.
Yeah, that's not our mutual basements right here.
Yeah, not a podcast who's been doing 232 episodes of a fucking dog and pony show.
Yeah, you want to know why I have other people involved? Because our studio does not look like this. This is how we make a podcast is going to look like.
If Richie was in charge of it, he's like space sheet everywhere.
But yeah, check out the Brewdot podcast, all wherever you can find podcasts. Richie's doing. Are you doing a majority of the episodes? I know.
I'm on every episode, but we always have 3 people. So if there's 2 guests, then it's just me. If there's 1 guest, then it's me and Evan.
Okay. Yeah. So because one of them still lives up in Brooklyn, right?
That's Evan. He's a floater, so he's there. Yeah.
But yeah, you're getting you're us like 2 or 3 years ago, getting like brewers on, actually committing to come onto the podcast and actually doing it.
Yeah, now our kids are in intramural sports, and
yeah, we don't have time to book and deal with all that nonsense. Nobody wants to do podcasts.
We're just like, you want to come on? Nah, it's all good.
We're just gonna drink beer.
Yeah, you want to talk about a state, maybe a lizard? We're good.
What a great cliff notes of Drinking Across Old Glory. Yeah, talk about state, maybe a lizard. I don't know. But either way, Richie, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Obviously, we wish you all the best of luck with this endeavor. Guys, go on spacecadetbeer.com. Check them out. Go to your local distributors. Buy it up. There's only 2,000 or so cans out there.
1,920.
There it is. Just under 2,000 cans. We'll say that. And get your. That's it. That's the run. So get out, get these beers, and let us know how it is. Post it up here. But guys, this has been Best Friends Podcast, episode 232.
We out.
See. Cool. We are done recording the actual audio. I'm gonna go pee. Dan, if you want to talk to Richie.
232 episodes is a shitload.
It is. It's an endeavor, my friend. It is. So I guess while we're on the post episode stream here before Tom gets back, I feel remiss that we didn't bring up Brewed Up Podcast enough. You guys have been just picking up steam in the area with the brewers you guys have had on. Also, I like the industry talk with other elements of the industry. We talked about Kunda before the podcast when we were talking about
Chris Kunda is the coolest person I've ever met in my whole life.
Kunda is the best beer store I've ever been to.
He is 4th generation, 102, 103 years. It shows. If he is the most chill dude in the whole world.
Yeah,
I love him.
It's great, and like he knows exactly. Like as soon as you come in, and like you might know like maybe half of the name of the beer you're looking for, and he's got it.
It is in his blood. He is a beer man through and through.
That place is instrumental in like development of like me getting into craft beer. It was located like where I work, like near where I work. It was always like on the way home from a lot of things. Like Kunda, I would say Kunda will always have my heart. But you guys talked Kunda, distribution. You guys even dropped the whole RTD drinks and everything that are coming to distribution as well at beer stores. Kind of talked about that with him as well as some other people. But you guys are covering elements of the brewing industry that are very interesting, areas that we don't really talk about.
I think their main thing is that Brewdat's main thing. Like I'm not loving Brewdat. That's just Evan and Cole.
Yeah,
but they're trying to connect Gen Z to beer because Gen Z is like not drinking alcohol and they're definitely not drinking craft beer, and it's like the whole industry like isn't looking at this like glacier that's just like it's hidden. It's like there's like it's going to destroy everything if like they don't fix it, and they're actually connecting these people. So we're trying to figure out a way with, especially the podcast, like how to connect to them. So I mean, I don't know how to use TikTok, but they're all over TikTok.
Yeah.
You know?
It's and you hit the nail right on the head with that. Like it's weird, like especially like another like in industry area like hiring. Like you're hiring this younger generation, and you're just like, what do you know about craft beer? Like, oh, I don't drink beer. So now you're hiring bartenders who can't talk about the beer.
You have yeah, it's like the same thing like craft beer before it was craft beer.
Yeah,
and there's always gonna be craft, at least for the next like 40 years, because when you get into beer,
yeah,
you don't stop. You hit this point like after college, from like 25 to 30.
Yeah,
you drink about the same from when you're like 30 years old to when you're like 65.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of the population that like the beer doesn't have to worry about. They're gonna be there. But like, it's gonna happen at some point. Like you need to get these people to start drinking.
Yeah. So and like Gen Z just doesn't drink. Like,
well, they're weird. They'll like take mushrooms and smoke weed because they think they're healthy, and then they'll drink like artificially flavored, artificially covered like Zima, and they'll be like, I'm healthy. I'm like, this is like not making sense. Like you guys are like picking and choosing.
Yeah, everybody's drinking like seltzers, White Claws, and
the RTDs are huge right now, and it's great that Pennsylvania
seltzers are actually down 70% year over year.
Yeah, it's the
RTDs.
It's the RTDs now,
like the Surfsides and all that.
I mean, if you look at like who's Surfside is, I mean, I can't imagine how much money they're worth right now. If they're
dominating.
It's insane.
Their employment, apparently, like all this stuff with the laws that passed, there was like huge issues with. They kind of came in last minute, and they were the ones that were like kind of like forcing the hand as far as like let us do this. And then like at the last minute, like they are still allowed to like self-distribute all over the state. So they're still self-distributing without wholesalers. And there was like this whole issue with like wholesalers were fighting it. And I mean, if you look at like the number of people that are jumping ship and like getting hired by stateside, it's insane. I mean, they're going to be one of the biggest alcohol companies in the country in the next couple of years.
Guaranteed,
I mean, like, and even look at like how many people are drinking Statesides versus Surfsides right now. Like when I'm at my country club, it's like they have Statesides and Surfsides in the fridge, and it's like,
well, they're the same
people are
company.
coming in and just no, I get it. Like they're the same company, but it's a seltzer versus a.
Well, it's a vodka seltzer. It's not a malt liquor seltzer, which I think is.
And you saw
it's
with
different.
Everybody orders Surfsides.
So Twisted Tea and Mike's Hard are malt based.
Right.
Yeah.
Those were the biggest things. Were like that. They're their biggest two competitors. Well, and then so Twisted Tea came out with Twisted Tea Light, which tastes more similar to that, which blew up, especially in Philadelphia. But then
hard disagree.
Sam Adams, yes, it doesn't taste like it, but like it's more closer to it. And so Sam Adams, who owns Twisted Tea, just invented, what is it, Suncatcher or something? It's some other thing that's like it's RTD.
So it's going to be like a vodka or like.
Well, if you go to the Jersey Shore, like if you go to like North Jersey Shore, it's all over there. Like they're trying to like buy their way into it, but it doesn't.
So it's not a malt based then.
Yeah, I mean they're just like they're going to take over all of Twisted Tea.
I mean, Twisted Tea has to do like. I mean, Twisted Tea is going to die because, like, it got so bad we had $1 Twisted Teas, and we're like, me and my buddies were like, sure, we'll get this because it's a fucking $1 versus $8 for a Surfside at the bar, and like the Twisted Teas are just it's so much sugar.
The problem is with it though, it's like they can grow, and like their CEO. Clement Pappas is like insanely smart, like, generational family business. They sold it and then they bought into Stateside, so now he's the majority owner of Stateside.
Okay, but
he's a Wharton MBA grad. Like he is he's the entrepreneur of the year in Philadelphia. Like he's an insanely smart person, and a brand like that or an alcohol beverage like that, it goes less. It's like more like Bud Light, where it goes less from I'll be not. I want to say an art. Like those things are delicious, but like it turns very much into a commodity, and it's just like, what's your growth potential?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I'm hoping that like I look, full transparency, I fucking love a Surfside.
I love them too, but
I mean, they're great.
But
I love the seltzers too when they came out, and like I very much
the
like I'm
cucumber lime or cucumber lemon one.
Yeah,
awesome.
But I have no desire to drink a seltzer now. I don't know why.
No,
and maybe 3 years from now, I'll feel the same way about.
I think it's the lack of carbonation. I like the
that's
low
what it
carb.
is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's the like if I'm gonna like, they're great for, like we have like golf scrambles, right? Where it's like you're going out, you're playing golf, but like the main thing is like we're drinking, we're having fun.
Yeah.
And if I want to crush 1,000 drinks, like the Surfsides go down so much easier because there's no carbonation. And
I mean, craft beer did the same thing. I mean, like there's the Guinness like exploded, and like the Czech pulls, like everyone's obsessed with the carbonation or the lack of carbonation. So it's kind of funny that like teas and the highest end craft beer like both looking at carbonation.
Yeah, like the foam rules everything around us now in craft beer, man.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. Though it's like carbonation does affect stuff.
That's what it is. It's like those things go down. Like, so we have I do like a charity scramble every year, and we bring out 24 Surfsides, and before you even feel anything, it's like, oh, I've crushed 6 of these.
Surfside also has caffeine in it. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, they don't talk about that either. It keeps everyone going at a bar, man. I cook through them.
Not only do they have caffeine, they just released a green tea, which has even more caffeine, and it's unbelievably good.
It is great.
It's unbelievably good.
I need to figure out, because you can add tea to beer. You can add like the same way that you could. Yeah. The way alcohol and caffeine works is you can have as much caffeine in alcohol as long as it's naturally occurring. So you can't, like a Four Loko, which they were dumping caffeine powder.
Right.
So if you can somehow figure out how to make a beer,
like green tea. Green tea has more naturally occurring caffeine than like a black tea leaf.
Exactly.
Or white tea leaf.
And those flavors aren't very heavy.
Right.
If you were somehow able to like put those into beer and mask it with hops or something like that, and then you just made like energy beers.
Yeah. Ooh, we're bringing that back.
Whew. All right. It started with Sparks. Remember Sparks, Dan?
Yeah, I remember Sparks.
Yeah.
What was the one? It was some the second person that was hired at Sam Adams made some beer that was called like. What was it?
I think Budweiser did an energy beer that was not good. The original one for us was Sparks. It was like an orange soda.
Yeah.
It was like the precursor to Four Loko.
Basically.
Maybe that was what it was.
It was just like an orange flavored.
It had a battery as its like logo.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the can had like a plus and like a
plus and a
positive
minus,
and negative charge.
like a C battery.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, why are you drinking this? I like the flavor of it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just, I don't know. Surfside has it. It's, I'm hoping that it never like goes the way of like where it's just like super mass produced, where like the quality goes down, and it's like you're getting like that twisted tea, artificial, like twisted tea is like almost like the brisk tea of alcoholic teas right now. It's like,
I don't think it will. I mean, they're making so much. I think they sold 1 million barrels. It's been around for 2.5 years. I think they sold 1 million cases year 1 and 4 million cases year 2.
Dude, it's insane. And like front of house, like I've seen the price increase, but not the level of like.
I mean, you can buy a Surfside. A bar gets Surfsides for $2, $2.50.
Yeah,
and they're still so new that the standard in the city is to sell them for $8 to $10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 8. Yeah, it's
And
about
may-
8. Yeah.
And maybe they're telling the bars like you have to sell at this, so there's not like some price war, or maybe it's just all the bars are realizing they can sell them for that and make that much money. But they're getting them for $2. Like that's an insane markup on something that you're not even pouring. So there's zero waste. It's not like a draft beer where you're getting like 20%, 15% waste. It's a can. You're handed it to a crack and open.
16 at the ballpark for them bad boys.
It's the number one selling thing in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it got so popular that like you couldn't find like the original variety pack this summer. Like the lemonade, the original lemonade, like a lemonade iced tea. Like the only thing you could find at like anywhere around here, I was like, all right, I can't find it around here. Maybe we'll find it around the beach. No, it was all just all the new variety packs that came out.
Yeah, but I mean the same thing. I mean, 4 years ago, White Claw was that.
Yeah,
White Claw 70% down year over year. It's like it's just because it's not like a handmade premium product. I think people are able to move away from it very quickly. So I think they're so big, they're just going to become like this massive player. But I think
a huge thing for Surfside too is that it doesn't taste like alcohol. There's not like a big like alcohol flavor to it. Like you can just drink them and be like, I'm just drinking an iced tea. It's not like a lot of those, like, I mean, the seltzers aren't bad, but they definitely have like an alcohol flavor to them.
Some of them are really bad. There's a lot of them that are really, really bad. Vizzies, oh my god, that tastes like you're drinking a vitamin.
Do you remember when Smooges came out? Not Smoogies. Smooge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went away pretty quickly. What's the Truly stayed around? Truly does a pretty good job of staying around. I'd like to know what their numbers are at. But
I don't know them individually. I just know the seltzers as a whole are down 70%.
I think Truly went like way more like flavor based. Where like White Claw was like all like we're low cal, it's very like seltzer, and they're like, were they tequila?
It was malt.
It's just malt.
Yeah,
I thought White Claw was tequila.
No, they were just
based.
malt beverage.
Malt. Okay, so and then it was like a splash of like flavor to it.
Yeah,
where like Truly is like that like flavored seltzer, and it's like super flavored. Like very like it's almost like an alcoholic soda.
Yeah, there's also. Do you know who DJ Smooth is? He's like a DJ. He has like Smooth Entertainment. He has a bunch of DJs underneath of him. He's like, I think one of the main DJs for the Phillies. Maybe.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then like if you go to like all the clubs downtown, like what are they? Wicked Wolf, Brew, Tradesman's. Like most of those guys are underneath him.
Sorry, Richie, we don't head to the clubs in the city.
Well, maybe some of your listeners. So
young buck.
But Kiki Vodka is like a local vodka company. It's like
I drink theirs. I love theirs, man.
Yeah, so Kiki Vodka is like it's not like Philadelphia Distilling Company. It's like the cheaper local vodka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they have now partnered with Smooth. So it's it's called like Smooth Water.
Yeah.
They don't even call it a tea. They call it Smooth Water, which I don't know I mean, there's water in it, so you can call it water, but like I don't understand. There's beer laws about there's alcohol laws about everything that you can't say like call something if it's not in it, but like to call something water.
Yeah.
And yes, there's obviously water in it. There's water. It's like even beer is like 95% water, but it's like I don't understand how they can call it like smooth water. That seems odd.
Yeah.
I drink theirs a few times, man. Like they have them very.
How are they? I've never had.
They're good. They're just as good as Surfside.
Gotcha. I think that their thing was like, like Surfside was the thing. Like, let's get a cool guy. Like this guy knows all the cool guys. Let's get him.
They have a look to them. Like, yeah, I can see them being at the club, at the club.
Smooth Water. I'm looking them up now. Smooth Water.
Yeah, they have them at the alley in Pottstown.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they do have a very like Surfside, like
Look to them.
a very hip look, like Bomb Pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the?
Yeah, I see Smooth Water. Yeah. 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 They have a very like hip look to them. Smooth Water.
All right, Sun Cruiser is Sam Adams' version of Surfside. So if you go to like the beaches in North Jersey, it's like they've just tried to pump so much money into marketing this, just like giving deals to bars, like just trying to fight some of the takeover that Surfside is doing. And it
Oh,
looks exactly the same.
I saw those. I saw those at Sea Isle this year.
They
And I was
taste.
like, what the?
They're not as good as Surfside.
No,
but
well,
it's the closest thing that I've had.
The problem is, and like what it and it was from me. Like I looked at it, and I was like, what in the fucking Surfside knockoff is this? Like
That's what it is. They saw
Yeah.
Surfside and they were like, fuck that.
yeah, I
And
was
they
like, what is
invented
this?
They invented this that's not Twisted Tea to try to
Right.
counteract it. And
No,
there's
it looks like Wish.com Surfside. Like
yeah, like Sam Adams has so much money, like a publicly traded company. I think
Yeah.
they're just trying to throw unlimited money at stopping the takeover of Twisted or Surfside.
yeah, because who the fuck drinks Twisted Teas anymore? Like it's almost like a joke. Like I've
Hipsters do. If you remember in Philly, people drink PBR and Twisted Tea like it's going out of style.
Twisted Tea
Same.
is gross.
I know, but why? But people in Philly love it. I don't understand.
No, yeah, I don't.
If
really
you go to
get it.
like all the dive bars in Philly, people love Twisted Tea.
That's crazy.
Maybe because it sucks. I think that's like a very hipster thing.
maybe
It's
I
just
know
it's
it-
not cool and it sucks, but it was cool 10 years ago. I love it.
it was a meme. Like people like it would be like like a Delco douchebag drinking Twisted Teas.
It's the same. I know people are gonna hate me for this. It's the same reason why people drink Malort. So like this shit
Oh.
sucks.
I
I just like it because it sucks. It's like
Yeah,
I don't get it.
it's because it's a meme. That's all it is. It became a meme, and that's it. They want to like, oh yeah, look at me doing the meme shit.
Someone needs to make a Space Cadet meme so that I can get all
There
this
you go. You can
unneeded love.
make a gross ass beer that we can meme off. A Malort style beer. How do you make a Malort style beer?
Make some
Maybe-
zero gravity Malort.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
there's
is-
water in beer. Maybe I could just call my beer astronaut water.
you can't call it hop water. That's already trademarked.
If I go to astronaut water, I mean, there's water. I mean, what's the difference between calling a hard RTD something water and calling beer water? I mean, there's water and beer.
I don't know. My wife calls me a hard RTD all the time.
Damn.
There's
Damn, man. Don't get her fired from her job.
all right. Let's wrap this thing up. Thanks for coming on, Richie. We always
Thanks
always
a lot,
love
Richie.
we
It was a
always
good
love
time.
having you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll put this out on Wednesday. We'll promote it. We'll let you know. We'll tag you and everything, and then throw everything out there. And then we'll put up like reels and stuff, and we'll try and get word out there.
Sweet.
Space Cadet. Space.
Space
Cadet.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
Hey,
We'll be talking to you.
Okay. How do I do this? I just end this?